Today we're going to talk about a concept called cognitive fusion, because it's very, very important that we differentiate our ability to think a thought and our nature to fuse ourselves with that thought and make that thought a reality. Because we've got two types of mind. We separate our mind into two distinct forces. We have our observing mind and we have our thinking mind. And our thinking mind thinks thoughts, thinks or creates feelings, creates urges, all of the things that we battle against on a daily basis to succeed in life. Our observing mind is aware of everything always, and it never ever makes us think a thought. It never affects the way we behave or act. For instance, let me make an example. If I put my leg on this chair during this speech, I'm aware immediately that my foot is now on this chair. But I'm not necessarily thinking about my foot being on that chair until I started talking to you about it. So you can see there that there is an awareness, a higher awareness of everything going on every day, and then there is your ability to think about certain things. Now, our thinking mind will overpower our observing mind all day long. But our thinking mind will throw all sorts of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and urges our way in a sense to protect us. And that is a primal mechanism that we've had from eons ago to protect us from harm. And it used to serve a very, very good purpose back in those days. If you think about it, we needed to know if this berry we were picking was going to poison us, or we needed to be able to differentiate whether the bush over there was actually a tiger waiting to kill us. Nowadays, we don't have that sort of danger on a daily basis. What we do fear, though, is failure. And that failure can come from any sort of area of our life, whether it's trying to get fit and healthy, whether it's trying to succeed in a certain career, build a relationship, fall in love, or even have children, things like that. Generally, our primal instinct to protect us, which is through our thoughts, tries to defend or protect us from failure. And that often is the limiting factor between whether we endeavour on big goals and aspirations or whether we fall apart and don't do anything at all. And that's all totally fine, because it's important to understand that those thoughts and feelings were very, very important at one stage in our life, and it's critical that we don't fuse ourselves to them on a daily basis and make them a reality. See, our thinking mind can very much control the outcome of our life if we fall victim to that expression of cognitive fusion, which is what psychologists call the behaviour of actually attaching reality to a thought. Now, what is a thought? Let's look at that very quickly before I go on. A thought is merely a word played out in your mind or an image played out in your mind, created or fabricated by that thinking mind based on previous experiences. When we run into trouble is when we start to fuse ourselves with those thoughts and really believe that they're our reality, and then they start to control our behaviour, our actions, and how we feel. So what do we do to overcome this problem? What do we do to defuse ourselves from our thoughts, what social psychologists actually call cognitive effusion? This is something that I've looked into for many, many years. I've read a lot of literature, and I've tried a lot too. And someone who's suffered quite severe depression all my life, I've had to. I've really needed to become successful in business. Now, we've used, and we very much advocate the use of visualization, meditation, and affirmations in the gym here at Unity. But the problem is that what those things are doing, if we don't understand that cognitive fusion concept, they're fighting something that you can never win. You can never stop thinking a thought. You can never override a thought with something positive if you don't learn to separate yourself from the thought in the first place. Thoughts are going to come and go constantly throughout our lives, and until we make peace with that concept, until we embrace the fact that not every thought is actually reality, there's a very big difference between a vision that comes into your mind or a word that plays out into your mind and what is actually occurring in reality right here and now, then we're always going to have a battle. So the concept of visualization and affirmations is very good when we clearly define our values and our purpose in life and then keep that as the North Star to head to and keep reminding ourselves through positive affirmation that that's the direction we're heading in. But they're not necessarily effective in overriding negative thoughts. And this is where a lot of people get this wrong, guys. If you suffer from cognitive fusion and you think something and then believe that to be your reality, you need to start looking much deeper. You need to start working on becoming at peace with your thoughts, understanding what they are. They are not you. There's something played out in your mind based on a primal instinct that's there to protect you, and that's all programmed by what you've experienced in the past before. You are going to run into serious emotional stress and pain throughout your life. So here's my tip of this week for mindset. What you need to do is understand or learn about the concept of cognitive fusion, and then separate yourself, your mind, from your thinking mind and your observing mind. Because your observing mind is going to be with you throughout your entire life. You cannot change it. It's always there, it's always observing, and it's always very powerful. And the more we become in touch with our observing mind, the more we learn to live in the here and now and stop worrying about, stop fusing with the negative thoughts that come in and out of our mind on a daily basis. Don't fight them, learn to become at peace with them, and learn to develop and acknowledge them. That's my thought and mindset tip for this week, guys. Thanks very much.